The Deputy Minister of Social Development, Hendrietta Bogopane-Zulu, visited KwaZulu-Natal communities affected by the floods. She joins me now. Deputy Minister, thanks so much for your time on SABC News. Just describe for us the situation in the communities that you visited.
Thank you very much, and good evening, South Africa. I think what we see on TV is an understatement. It's very devastating, it's very painful, and it's a natural disaster you can really not explain. I can't find the words to actually explain what is out there. All I can say is that the recovery, whether it's physically, psychologically, will take us many years.
Mm-hmm. Can you give us insight into some of the conversations you've been having around relief and the type of the relief your department may be able to provide later, or when will an announcement come about that?
Firstly, Team Deputy Minister, we do a lot of work with traditional leaders. So in this very situation, we opted to say a lot of rural people will not actually, their story might never be told. So we started Hendrietta, where we have one of the ECDs that fell on the children, and their teacher and the grade R children died in that. And it's one of the ECDs we had built in that rural area. We went to see families where 10 members have passed on to be able, and they it's like, our house is washed away. We've lost 10 members. When are we even going to bury them? Because now we don't have the IDs, and Home Affairs is not coming to assist us. We went to Port Shepstone today, and that was the worst. It's like children are still stuck under the houses in the mudslides. You've got families that just are sleeping under the trees because their houses have fallen. We have 217 families that we had to put in ECDs. With 5-day-old babies, we had to provide more than what we normally do, because when you give a person that lost their house a food pack, where must they cook it? How are they going to cook it? And as we open, whether it's schools, it's everything, we also have conversations with children, just to make sure that as a department we don't lose the voices of children. And a lot of the children are actually hurting. It's traumatic. They don't know which uniforms. They don't have uniforms. Their books are missed. They don't feel like going to school. They need a lot of support and counseling. Older persons who live alone and have Alzheimer's, they could not even recognize as the house falls, because now they already in a state of growth. Totally blind people in a shelter here in the city center. It got flooded. They did not know where to go. All they could do was scream. And as a totally blind person in a disaster like water, you feel the water, but you don't have anywhere to go. A communal house for deaf people. They could not hear the screaming, and until the water rise to their beds, only then. And even as they try to go out in the dark, they can't scream for help because nobody's going to hear them. In a home run by KwaZulu-Natal Association, people's wheelchairs have been, some of them we lost them because as the wheelchair gets washed away, the caregiver cannot carry the person on the bed. So the caregivers had to choose, are we rescuing this person or are we leaving? Others were left, and there was nothing else because nothing works. And it's those things that Team Deputy Minister as Team Social Development have been busy with, ensuring that we actually stand to the leave no one behind, but reach the furthest first.
Okay, just talk to us about, now that you've got an insight into some of the challenges that people are facing, what departments or private sector companies may you work with in order to alleviate these challenges? Because you gave an example earlier on of people who needed IDs, which they don't have to bury people.
We have sorted out Home Affairs. We have the mobile units will be going to where we've directed it. In all of the different communities, because what is good about working with rural communities, there's structure. There's Induna from the tribal council, there is the ward councillors, and I want to give, a high five to the ward councillors. They've really been active. They've really been assisting us to get the full report. For us, since we arrived, we can give a shout out, for example, to RioNet. That ensured that people can have a place. They can book and pay for a place for us to put those that are misplaced in the different BNBs. We can give a shout out to Tindani Investments, who made sure that those that are staying with neighbors, food can be delivered so that the neighbor doesn't have the burden of say, please look after this 2, 3, 4-year-old while you are struggling to feed your own family. We can thank different companies for different things. Pick and Pay, for example, assisted us in making sure we can distribute dignity packs as well as sanitary packs for those people staying in communal, in the halls. We could deliver mattresses. So it's been, for us, the biggest support has been from the private sector. While a government is sorting out, we did not want to wait because the devastation is just too much. So we reached out to the private sector and we say they came through for us, those that could partner with us, and we were able to give, the gas stoves, fill the gas, get the food, so that in the halls where they are, they don't run out of. And we really thank the
Deputy Minister, we're about to run out of time, so my apologies for interrupting you. I just wanted to get clarity on this point. So it's my understanding that people who are living in South Africa, who are residents of South Africa, whether they are citizens or not, are eligible for assistance from the government when it comes to a disaster like this. Can you just confirm that for me?
No, that is true. When a disaster is declared, whether in a province or the national government, first and foremost, must redirect resources that's going to accommodate the disaster. That's the first thing. The second thing is South Africa, in terms of our Social Assistance Act, social relief of distress, which is some of what we are seeing because it's a natural disaster that nobody can actually plan for. They are entitled to relief, and that is what an entity like SASSA, Social Development, the National Development Agency, has to actually, at all 4 levels, national, province, district, and local, need to pull together and, human settlements, the tourism industry, because some of the hotels are flooded. All of the different sector departments are supposed to ensure small business. They are supposed to ensure that we find resources in our respective budgets and redirect to support whichever province, in this case, KZN. And you also spoke about the fire in Cape Town. Those are the disasters that we need to make sure that the beneficiaries are supported.
Right, Deputy Minister Hendrietta Bogopane-Zulu visiting communities in KwaZulu-Natal and just talking to us there about the challenges that they've encountered, how they're working with the private sector, and also just a reminder that it's not just people who are South African citizens who are eligible for assistance when it comes to a disaster like this.